Welcome, everyone, from Nashville, Tennessee. The Fellowship of St. Matrona the Blind is proud to present some exciting news. My name is Ariane, and I want to tell you a little bit about a brand new podcast that we just taped. It's part of an ongoing series that we do, The Saints and Us, True Friends Sharing the True Faith. This new podcast we just completed is about St. John, the Wonder Worker of Shanghai and San Francisco. And during his lifetime, he was also known as simply Vladika John. You know, many people saw in Vladika not only a life of total surrender to God, but also someone who remembered even the least of his flock. He shepherded. He truly had the gift to draw people to Christ. He cared about everyone in his flock. Even today, he reaches down from heaven to do the same for us. In other words, to care for those who seek his help. As we always say here at the Fellowship of St. Matrona the Blind, our faith is truly alive through our saints. We believe this particular podcast and others in our series can inspire you to commune with this saint and other saints. In turn, St. John can come closer to your heart and potentially can ignite a renewed desire in your life to draw even closer to Christ. Co-hosting with me on this new podcast is my special friend who lives in Ireland, Elisa Jackson. In fact, I'm wearing a scarf she gave me with little sheep on it, so I feel her presence with me right now. The saints behind me in particular brought us together. To my right is a painting, a portrait of St. Elizabeth the New Martyr that I completed many years ago, and there's a small miracle that was really touching and deeply touching in my life that Elisa heard about before I met her, and she saw this painting. And on the other side is the other two saints that brought us together, our friendship, Tsar Martyr Nicholas, and of course, our very special patron saint of this fellowship, St. Matrona the Blind of Moscow. And I should say that St. Elizabeth the New Martyr is also Elisa's name day saint. Now, some of you may know Elisa's husband, Jonathan Jackson. He is a well-known actor, author, and musician. He recently played Elder Joseph the Hesychast in a docudrama, which I highly recommend that everyone try to see. In fact, it recently won an award at the London Greek Film Festival. And you know, Elisa herself is a very talented person. I love the fact that she's passionate about spreading the love of God to the world through his saints, and that's what really makes her such an engaging host. She's a joy to speak with and listen to, and I'm just very honored that we got to talk, and Elisa and I truly felt a spiritual vitality discussing such a wise, holy man, an extraordinary man of God who even today reaches down from heaven through his prayers to help you and me. Now, here's a short vignette story about St. John to get you excited and inspired to tune in and check out our conversation. And first, I would like to share my very favorite photograph of St. John. He's pictured as his desk, you know, just working away with the prayer rope tied around his arm gently, and he's at his typewriter typing, probably answering, someone in his flock, someone that needs his help, thinking of every person that comes to him that he could administer to. So I love this photograph. It just really touches my heart. And, now for a moment, just imagine if you personally knew a saint. My dear friend Jenny is a good friend with Vladimir Krasovsky. Jenny has spoken to her longtime friend, and he is allowing us to see a very special St. John Maximovitch spiritual treasure that currently resides in his prayer corner. But first, here's a short backstory. Vladimir and his family knew St. John well. He was an altar boy, and Vladimir even had confession with St. John, and he also attended his funeral. He is an accomplished iconographer and the choir director at the cathedral where St. John Maximovich's relics are permanently enshrined in San Francisco. Vladimir even painted the famous icon, many of you may know it well, of the saint that is hanging above his tomb, as well as assisting the well-known Father Cyprian of Jordanville in painting the cathedral's icons. This spiritual treasure that I am speaking of right now is an envelope and a letter written by St. John himself and addressed to Vladimir's parents at the time of his birth. At that time, they lived in Bangkok, and there were no Orthodox churches there. So, St. John lovingly wrote out instructions to help his father baptize his son Vladimir. Can you imagine knowing a future saint and having such a spiritual treasure? The November 1950 letter congratulates Vladimir's parents upon the birth of their son, and St. John also mentions the following words. It is dangerous to leave an infant unbaptized for a long period of time, he writes. Then he gives specific instructions to Vladimir's father on how to baptize an infant. When he wrote this letter, he was already Archbishop of Shanghai. How lovingly he takes time out of his busy schedule and he cares for a newborn baby and its soul. And he even attaches a cross you can see in the photograph to this particular letter with such great care. I mean, such love. It really touches my heart. The saint gives such love to all, to everyone he cares for, who calls out to him, to keep even a newborn soul protected on the true path to Christ. So now it's time to learn about this saint that can help you navigate your life. Take some time just for yourself to nourish your soul. Think about it. We spend so much time on our bodies. What about our souls? Sit down, pour yourself a cup of coffee or tea, and put your feet up. And let's tune in to podcast 24 to learn more about another true friend in Christ, St. John Maximovitch. And remember, you can connect with us and learn about other Orthodox Christian saints via Facebook, on the SoundCloud app, or directly on our website at the Fellowship of St. Matrona the Blind. So it's www.fellowshipofstmatronatheblind.com. Join us. We'll see you there.